Well, if you're trying to decide between Golden, Colorado and Littleton, Colorado, I've noticed that there's something that most people don't fully realize until they're already deep into their home search. Now, these two cities might look similar on a map or maybe look like they're close to one another, but the way your day-to-day life feels in each of these areas actually feels very different. And where I see many of my buyers get stuck is assuming they're interchangeable, when choosing the wrong one can actually impact your daily routine more than you expect. And interestingly, a lot of buyers tend to actually change their mind after they see both areas in person. So in this video, I'm going to help you figure out which one actually fits you. Now, this is one of the most common decisions that relocation buyers are trying to make when they're moving to the Denver area. So I'm going to walk you through this the same way that I do with my clients. We're going to start with a quick feel for each area. Then we're going to talk about commute and daily flow, then the price range and what your home search actually looks like, and finally, who each area tends to fit best. Golden sits about 15 miles west of Denver, right at the base of the foothills. It has more of that mountain-adjacent feel with Clear Creek running through town and direct access into the canyon. You certainly can't beat those views. Littleton is located just south of Denver along the South Platte River and is more integrated into broader metro area. It tends to feel more balanced and suburban with a walkable historic downtown, got restaurants and everyday convenience. And there are parts more northern in Littleton that are closer to the foothills. Now, most buyers start leaning one direction here, but interestingly, it's usually not what ends up deciding it. One of the biggest factors that ends up deciding this is what your normal Tuesday actually looks like. Now, Golden is positioned right along major west side corridors like US 6 and I-70, which connects directly into Denver and the mountains. It's also about 15 miles from downtown Denver, and depending on traffic, the drive is often around 20 to 30 minutes. Now that makes it a strong fit if you're working near Denver Federal Center or maybe anywhere along that west corridor. While Littleton is about 9 miles south of downtown Denver and sits along major routes like C-470 and Santa Fe, which connect to the south and southeast metro. It also has light rail access into downtown, with trips taking roughly 30 minutes from the downtown Littleton area station. So, if you're working near the Denver Tech Center or in areas like Centennial or Greenwood Village, Littleton often lines up better with your day-to-day flow. Now, I've worked with buyers who were completely set on Golden at the beginning until they mapped out their commute. And once they saw what the drive looked like during the week, you know what, Littleton started to make a lot more sense. Where you work often ends up shaping where you'll feel most comfortable living. However, quick note, it amazes me that I have noticed that traffic can actually be busy at all times of the day and days of the week. Just something to get used to when moving here. All right, let's talk about price range expectations, because this is where expectations often shift. Golden typically has a higher entry point. Many single-family homes tend to fall in the upper 700s into the million-plus range, and that depends on location and certainly condition. Now, Littleton usually offers a broader range. Many single-family homes are often in the 600 or into the 800s with options above and below, depending on the area, of course. Remember, it's not just about the numbers. It's about what your budget actually allows you to access in each market. All right, let's talk about housing and your search experience, because this is where expectations and reality tend to meet. Golden is a smaller, more geographically constrained city, which naturally limits inventory. There are typically fewer homes available at any given time. And when something comes up that fits what you're looking for, it tends to move quickly, so be sure to get ready to schedule your showing rather quickly. You'll often find more unique homes in Golden, and because Golden sits closer to the foothills, you'll also see more properties with rocky terrain and elevation changes. Now, Littleton is larger and more spread out with multiple neighborhoods and housing styles across the area. There's usually a broader range of homes to choose from. You've got more variety in layout and price points, and more flexibility if the first home doesn't work out. Now, in parts of Littleton and really throughout different areas of the Denver metro, you may also come across more expansive clay soils, which can expand and contract with moisture. Golden, being closer to the foothills, tends to have more rocky and stable ground conditions depending on the specific location. Now, neither of these is something to be concerned about, but they are things to be aware of. And that's exactly why inspections and understanding how a home has been maintained play such an important role when you are trying to buy in these locations. It's also something that I walk through with my clients, so there's no surprises along the way. So the real trade-off looks like this. In Golden, you're often paying a premium for a location and more limited supply of homes. In Littleton, that same budget usually gives you more options and perhaps more flexibility in your search. Neither is better, but they are very different and different experiences. All right, let's talk about mountain access for a minute, because mountain access is one of the reasons, many reasons, that people move here. Golden feels like you're actually in it. You're right at the foothills with immediate access into Clear Creek Canyon and I-70. Littleton still gives you access, don't get me wrong, but you're starting a little further east. Now, for many buyers, it feels more like something that you plan for, rather than something that's built into your daily routine. Golden feels like you're stepping into the mountains. Littleton feels like you can get there easily, but just know that you're not living in it. Let's talk about the lifestyle deep dive, because once buyers have worked through commute, price, and what their search looks like, this is usually where I see that decision when it clicks. Golden has a smaller, tight-knit feel with strong outdoor energy. It's a historic town with a defined downtown and more contained footprint. Now, Littleton, on the other hand, offers more variety. It has a historic downtown, but also multiple neighborhoods, newer developments, and more day-to-day convenience. Now, this decision isn't really about Golden versus Littleton. It's about how you want your day-to-day life to feel once you're living here. So let's talk about who each area fits, because Golden tends to be the right fit if being close to the mountains is part of your daily lifestyle, not just something that you do on the weekends. You're comfortable with fewer options, and you know what you want when you see it. Now, Littleton tends to be the better fit if you want more flexibility in your search, a wider range of homes, and a lifestyle that balances convenience with access to the outdoors. And honestly, a lot of buyers are quite surprised by which one they end up choosing after they've experienced both of them. And if I have not mentioned it yet, Golden is the home of the School of Mines. So if you are touring in the fall, you might just catch a football game. And don't forget to look up and catch the big M on the side of that mountain sitting high above the school. It's pretty cool. Now, if you're still trying to figure out where to land near Denver, this is actually where the decision really starts. But before you choose any one specific area on the west side, there are a few things that tend to surprise people once they actually get here. So on my channel, I have a video called "Don't Move to West Denver Without Knowing These 7 Things." That's a really helpful next step because it walks you through some of the things that buyers don't always expect until they're already living here. And if you want a head start before you even get here, I've also put together a free Colorado relocation guide. It will walk you through neighborhoods, the market, and how to think through this decision before you're on a timeline. And if we haven't met, I am Nicole. I am with Exit Mosaic Realty and the Mama Bear team. And I want you to drop your questions in the comments because I read them all. And I want you to remember, life is short. Live somewhere awesome and be well. We'll see you next time.